Welcome to Explore Hayat, the number one personal development podcast in Dubai, where we dive deep into powerful stories and transformational conversations. Today, we have a truly remarkable guest, a fearless journalist whose work has shaped the very fabric of investigative journalism in the region and beyond.
And then when the Ghodis saw me, said, "Oh, kill them." And then all 20 of them, or maybe 10, 12 of them, ran with their Trishul. So Salman Khan in driving school is like Bill Cosby doing something for child protection. But there have been challenges when we have faced life threats and death threats, and I had to whisk my family away from India. So we had some guests at home for Eid. My daughter was saying, "Abba, are these victims or guests? Like, I don't have any social life." Talking about naked men with bodies in ash, and they pull out these dead bodies and then they feast on them. See, 2025, because this is going to be a tsunami of cyber crimes.
He has exposed over 250 criminals worldwide, uncovering scams, frauds, and illegal activities that have shaken industries and societies. The James Bond of Dubai, he has confronted global icons like Michael Jackson, spent nights with cannibals, crashed into Shah Rukh Khan's house, and even left Salman Khan fuming. Currently, a senior editor at Khalij Times, he has worked with prestigious publications like The Times of India, Hindustan Times, and Gulf News. His groundbreaking investigations have not only exposed criminal networks but also brought justice to countless victims. He is also the author of the book The Maz Files: Scoops, Scams, and Showdowns, where he shares his most daring exposures and the challenges of living on the edge as an investigative journalist. Before we get started, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to Explore Hayat, and share this episode with your friends and family. Your support helps us bring more incredible stories like this to life. And now, without further ado, it's my honor to welcome Mazhar Farooqui. Maz, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
How do you feel?
Great.
Why investigative journalism, knowing the life-threatening risks involved in it?
See, to be fair, there aren't any risk per se to the life in the UAE. It's the safest country in the world. But there are other challenges like lawsuits and people trying to intimidate you, and so those are a bit unnerving. But I've gotten used to it, become very thick-skinned now.
Yeah.
So why am I doing this? Because it has to be done. Some stories are important and they have to be told. And if I'm not going to tell those stories, then no one else will. So I think it's my responsibility to tell these stories.
So somebody had to take this responsibility, and you decided to take this responsibility and you started investigative journalism. Since you are an Explore Hayat, and Hayat means life, so we are exploring your life today.
Okay.
How did you begin your journey as a journalist? I think you started from India?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, this was like back in the day when I was just out of college. So I used to write for college magazines and newspapers. And then I managed to snag a job with a small local magazine where I was the editor, photographer, reporter. Short of selling the magazine, I was doing everything else. That gave me a good grounding. And then from there, I leapfrogged to other publications. I joined a publication in Allahabad. I worked there for some time. Then I moved to Pioneer, which is a big newspaper back home. Then we launched Hindustan Times and then Times of India. And then 2005 is when I came to Dubai, joined Gulf News, and now with Khalij Times. So it's been a long, eventful journey, full of surprises and twists and turns. So.
Definitely. So when you were in India and Hindustan Times and Times of India, were you working as investigative journalist?
Not really. In fact, that's something which people find very surprising. I was doing lifestyle journalism. I was covering showbiz and Bollywood and restaurants and movies and all of that. But occasionally I used to do these big stories. Like, I used to go out and dig something out of the ordinary, and people say, Dick, what's wrong with you? You are doing something about fashion and now you're doing something. So I was doing crime stories those days as well. We didn't have a specific beat, but we used to go out and do those as well.
Right. So sometimes you were doing.
Yeah.
don't you see, like most of the time people, they like to go for this lifestyle journalism because there's a lot of this
Freebies.
fashion freebies
Yeah.
and then glamour. People, they like that, but you chose this one when there is a lot of risk involved in it.
Well, when I came to Dubai, I realized that I had two choices. Either I should start like doing what everybody else was doing, or go out of and raise the bar and do something up which was not there. So I saw a vacuum, and it was just right there to be filled. And when you do a one story, then you become the go-to person. Like if you're doing a story about if you're a food blogger, you'll get invites from all the restaurants. So the same with me. Now that I've become investigative journalist, so everyone comes to me. So when I open my phone or my email, like every day I have like at least 10 or 12 leads on Facebook, Twitter, email, WhatsApp. So what do you do now?
So what brought you to Dubai?
Money.
Money.
No,
So
I
money.
mean, to be fair, it was a big opportunity to work with a local newspaper here. And I was quite content in India because, when you're a journalist in Lucknow, Times of India, you're like the king. You have the policeman, the commissioner that you beck and call, and you were like quite looked up to and quite revered. So I was quite very happy. But then I thought, okay, let's try this out. The idea was to come to Dubai for a couple of years and then go back. Now this is home.
Now this is your home. So what drives you to keep pursuing the truth despite the dangers in this investigative journalism?
I think it's the nature of the job, because once you start working on a story and the adrenaline starts flowing, then your mind is completely focused on the story itself. You don't think about the consequences.
Right.
And although it's the back of the mind, okay, this story is going to cause you trouble, but you're so invested into the story that you don't think of anything beyond the story. So, and there are lives at stakes. There are people who look up to you. Then you say, okay, let's. So
You have family?
have family. Yeah.
Sometimes the face of your kid comes in front of your eye when you're doing this investigation.
I mean, as I said, I don't see any threat in the UAE, but there have been challenges when we have faced life threats and death threats, and I had to whisk my family away from India. So yeah, it does. I will not lie. I'm not fearless or anything. I have family. I do worry about them, and I do get scared occasionally. So yeah.
So how do you handle the risks involved in this field?
See, what I have done is something that I have mastered, and that is not. I tell everyone, but I'm going to tell you. So many years ago, I was at a conference in Johannesburg, and I met a journalist, and he said to me, "Maz, learn to hold the aces." I said, "What does that mean?" He said, when you play cards, you don't give everything, you just hold the aces, so that if you write about someone, if you do a story, and it's going to come after you, keep something back as a leverage. I said, "Baba, this is blackmail." He said, "No, it's not blackmail. This is for your own safety." So when I do a story about something and I know that this guy's going to come back at me, I said, "Oh, yeah, we had this, So that's how it works for me. It's my own kind of formula, but it has stood me in good stead.
Yeah. So this formula is working well for you. Sometimes could you use this ace when it was needed?
Yeah, many times. I remember there was a time when someone filed a lawsuit and threatened to put me in jail. So I said, okay, all right, fair enough. But this is what I'm going to publish next. So it's not over as yet. And then it's okay, all right.
So holding back some cards about the case. So is it
is
like
not the best form of journalism, but
Right.
it is the way to survive.
Okay. So this is the way you protect yourself.
Yeah.
So I have given certain information about you, but I have held back something.
Yeah.
So at least if you do this to me, I can do that.
Yeah.
So that's okay, fine. So could you just walk us through the process? Once you get the tip, some information about someone, how do you go about it?
So, of course, we have to vet the information because there are a lot of crazy tips that come your way. Of all the leads that will come, most of them, some of them are important, most of them are not. But I will walk you with one example, for instance. We were once told that there was a company that was recruiting people for jobs. It was a job portal, and it was one of the world's biggest job portal. They had 33 million subscribers, which is more than the population of some big countries. 33 million. So what they were doing was very inventive. They used to put up fake ads on their website and encourage people to apply on it. Now imagine if they put up an ad of a ABC company in Dubai and say the salary is 15,000 dirhams and these are the perks. So you'll apply, right? Sitting in India or Pakistan or elsewhere. So when you apply for these positions, they used to get a call and say, look, we like your CV. Now we'll schedule an interview. But first you have to pay $400 as the registration fee. You pay the money. Next, they would get someone to impersonate the HR head of the company. So they actually had names of all these HR heads who would actually call from India and impersonate. So I said, okay, let's uncover this scam. So I made a CV, said I want to apply as a restaurant chef. In the CV I wrote, I'm the worst chef in the world. My food has led to food poisoning. My degrees are all fake, and like, I wrote the most idiotic CV in the world, and I gave to these companies. And I know that they're not going to read the CV. All they're interested is in my money. So the moment I applied, I started getting phone calls.
You have been selected.
Selected 4 restaurants in Dubai were calling each other to hire me, and then that's how we exposed them. And then of course there was a huge crackdown, and all of them were arrested. And so we have to kind of do a sting operation to uncover this. I mean, just for example.
So if somebody is being called by someone, sometimes it happens, we receive a call and they're saying, we have got some money sitting in our bank account, and this money is coming from my grandfather, and then I want to transfer this money. So you must have heard this kind of story.
Course. I mean, these are old scams,
Yeah.
So they work on the model of volume. So they make 100 calls, 2 or 3 will fall for them.
And people still fall for that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, all driven by greed. So.
Right. Now, you don't hide your identity because you're tracking people, you're making them caught, and then still you're exposing yourself. So how do you feel? Like, is it safe for you?
See, now, of course, people recognize me. Now it has come to this that even if I call someone to ask for their, how they are feeling, or, even if I make a call which is like a normal call, people get rattled. Why is Mazhar Farooqui calling me?
Yeah.
So they panic. So that comes with the, it's not a good thing to be recognizable. And I was at the mall the other day shopping, and someone comes to me, oh, Mazhar Farooqui, investigating. I said, no, Baba, I'm out buying groceries for my family. It's what I'm doing. That happens quite often.
And how do you ensure your family's safety?
Like once I said, my daughter was in India and someone leaked her address and made a public appeal to kind of kill them. So I had to fly them back. And my family has kind of given up on me. My wife has said, iska kuch nahi sakta. It's it's beyond redemption now.
They have given up on you, your family?
I would say in the sense that, every time I promise them that, okay, this is the last time. And then it happens. I remember once I got a T-shirt which says "The King of Sting," and I was very proud of it. See, this is.
Yeah.
Next day I got arrested for some bogus case, and my wife was like, are you happy? Does it make you happy? And it was quite traumatic for them to go through what they have to go through. I mean, for me, it's a byline, and I feel adrenaline rush, but to prepare, for them, it's quite challenging. And it has come to this that my work and family life has kind of blurred. So every time I go out, I'm meeting some victims. So we had some guests at home for Eid. And my daughter was saying, Abba, are these victims or guests? So it has come to this. I don't have any social life. My phone starts. So my family is they are understanding, but at the same time it's traumatic for them because I remember there was a time I spent a night in jail for some stupid defamation case which you won also. But it was quite traumatic for them to be able to see me being put behind bars and all of that. Especially my father who was alive that time, so it was very hard for him.
So any point of time, did you have this feeling or did you ever think about it, had a thought of it that what I'm doing, I don't want to do this. I don't want to put myself in trouble anymore or my family.
See, it happens all the time. But when you see the impact of your stories, when you see the life that you impact and when you see something happening, so of course you feel good about it. And at the same time, when you do something which is phenomenal and you don't see any action happening, then you feel dejected. Okay, I risked my life. I spent so much time doing something like this. and it's still happening. So it is demotivating.
Okay. But then you come out of it
Yeah.
because the purpose is bigger than your
Yeah.
fears.
And as I said, like, we have other stories to chase, so we don't have the time to wallow in, pity and say, oh, look, I should do something else. And now I'm too old to find another job. So,
So you should just carry on whatever.
yeah.
Would you share with us the most harrowing or dangerous moment in your career?
Oh, there have been far too many. I mean, not so much here, but I remember I was in South Africa just before COVID. We were investigating illegal gold mining in a very dangerous place where 120 people have been killed for territorial wars, and I had gone there as part of a cross-border investigation, and I was relying on my local journalists there to guide us because this is a new country for me, and we were about 50 kilometers away from Harare. So the first night we went there, and he asked me to step out of the car and go into the jungle. I said, "Wow, this is not safe." And we had a woman with me as well. I said, if we go around in the jungle, which is where we have at 130 killings, we'll be stick out like sore thumbs. He said, no, it's okay. But I had the foresight. I said, no, this is not safe. Let's come tomorrow. The next day we come there, and I was still a bit reluctant. And the woman is saying, oh, you are so cowardly, and I thought I heard so much about you, and you're afraid. So my male ego said, okay, let's go there. But I was still not sure. So we parked the car, and then we go down the embankment. And then the moment we reached there, we were surrounded. And some of the miners, they were very, very rude to me. Rude is the understatement. They held their swords at my neck, and someone wanted to kill me and bury me into the pits. And someone said, let's steal it, take his watch, take his shoes. And so I pretended I did not speak a word of English. And it was quite frightening. And I think about 20-30 minutes, they tried to, someone wanted to kill me, someone wanted to say, let them go. So, but the whole time I managed to smile and pretended I didn't know anything. So that was one occasion. Another occasion was in Allahabad, where we were working on a series on aghoris. Now, aghoris is a cult in India that eats dead bodies. And they're like cannibals kind of thing. And they are they're a different league. We're talking about naked men with bodies in ash, and they pull out these dead bodies and then they feast on them. So we spent 5 days with them, and for 5 days I saw them feast on dead bodies, and I could not eat biryani or meat for a long, long time after that. That's another story. Now, one of these days, what happened was that because they were always on high, they were high on drugs, and they used to move in a pack of 20. So one day, we were told that these agholis were retrieving a body of some man from a river. And we were at a safe distance photographing them. And this was during the annual Mela called Kumbh. Now imagine we were in the Ganges River, our jeans sodden with water, and these men were taking out the body from the... And then when the agholis saw us, they said, oh, kill them. And then all 20 of them, or maybe 10, 12 of them, ran with their trishul, brandishing in the air, and you could see it was very, just like in the movies. Imagine night on the banks of the river, past midnight, and these naked men who are high, who eat dead bodies, and they wouldn't have minded eating a live one as well, running after us. And for a moment they froze because you couldn't quite comprehend what was happening.
Right.
And they turned around and ran. But of course we couldn't run as fast as they could because we were wearing trousers and we had a photographer who had a big camera. So we ran for our lives, and then we called for our driver, and then he came with his jeep and we jumped into the car, and then someone threw the spear and it whizzed past us, and so that was a close shave. But I can laugh about it now, but that night was quite...
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, what kind of feeling you had at that time? What state of mind you were at?
I think when we saw them turn around and shout at us, kill them, we were paralyzed with fear. It took us 3-4 seconds to understand what was happening. And then they were bare-bodied, and they could run faster than us. And because we were wearing heavy shoes and we were carrying equipment, we couldn't run as fast as they could.
Yeah. So.
And the gap was closing, and then seeing them running behind
close
us.
to you.
Yeah. And then I remember we had a driver called Javed Bhai, and he was called Javed Bhai.
So did you have any feeling at that time, okay, we are going to be dead today. It's my last day or something? Or you
I
just compose yourself and you say, nah, come on, we will be surviving
See,
today?
there wasn't much of a time to think. So now we can think, but that time it
Okay.
was like, when you are, when there's fear, you panic, and then you, the adrenaline rush.
Yeah. So
surges
fight or
and you-
flight
Yeah.
activated for
Yeah.
you. Yeah, understand that. Okay, so if I ask you, what's been your most satisfying accomplishment so far? Because this is more dangerous one. So what was that satisfying?
See, I mean, although we talk about busting scams and arrest and taking on drug lords and gangsters and sex predators and God knows what else, but the thing is more satisfying for a journalist than when your stories help reunite families. So my stories have helped unite. I don't know how many mothers with their daughters. There was a case from Pakistan just recently. I mean, I think about 2 months back, a mother and son came to our office and said to us that we can't find our father. What happened? Went missing. For 4 years ago, we've not had any contact with him for 4 years. I said, okay. So we run a story in Khalij Times, and the same evening I get an email saying, I know this man's dad. And the next day we called the family and said, okay, we have found your father. So we took them, and those fathers whom we had not seen for 4 years, we rented them. And the moment that the satisfaction that we saw, the woman breaking into tears and the son. So there is nothing more satisfying. And we have done it like so many times.
Wow.
I would think about 5-6 times.
So that drives you forward in your
Yeah.
life, in your profession, in your career. All right. Let's bring the mood to a little bit lighter. We have been talking about the
Yeah, this is
dangers
clear.
and this. So let me ask you, easy riddle. Please reply me for that. The more you take, the more you leave behind. What am I?
No, Mama, give me a complex case, I'll solve it. Riddles are beyond me.
No problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can think one more time and then I tell you what it is.
No, you can tell me. I mean,
Okay, this is, have you ever walked in a desert?
yeah.
So when you walk in the desert, what do you leave behind?
Footsteps, yeah.
Footsteps. Here you
Okay.
go. You found it. Very
I wish I
nice.
could leave behind some footsteps, but
Yeah, but basically in your profession, you remove the footsteps behind.
yeah, no traces.
You don't
down.
leave.
Yeah.
Okay, you tell me, does your investigative work feels like solving a riddle as well?
Yeah, of course, all the time. I mean, see, when you are working on a case and the pieces fall together, there is no feeling that can match it.
No.
When you're so close to cracking a case, and then when the final pieces fall together, yeah, done it. The satisfaction that you get is immense. No pleasure can match it. I mean, I'm sure there would be many pleasures to match it, but for me, incomparable.
So far in your work, what I read about you is you have done more than 250 cases, like arrest of criminals in Dubai.
Yeah, I mean, around the world, I would say.
So how did you do that? What was so special in that, or what was so something?
So what happened when you do a story,
Yeah.
and you uncover everything and lay it out in the open? Authorities do take action, and they're sent to where they belong, which is behind bars or deported. So,
But 250 plus cases?
I think that's an understatement, because what we did recently was huge. So my investigation uncovered what could be the world's biggest cybercrime syndicate in the world, and we helped uncover it, and that led to the arrest of several hundred criminals in one swoop. So that was quite significant.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And I've also read about you that you have confronted the pop star Michael Jackson. So what is the story behind it?
Oh, that was something very, I mean, that's my favorite story, and I never get tired of talking about it.
Yes, please.
So this was back in the day when we had just come to Dubai, and we were more like tourists. I just had gotten my business card, and I was out at a mall called Ibn Battuta with my family and my daughters, who were very small then. And I think it was around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we saw a commotion. So we saw a woman running in an abaya and another woman chasing her. It was quite odd for two women to be fighting inside a mall. And the woman who was chasing attacked this woman in the abaya, and then they fell over each other and they started like fighting. So I physically went and separated them. I said, "What are you guys doing? I mean, this is the mall." And the woman who was chasing the other woman said, "This man is inside the abaya is a man." I said, "What do you mean?" No, I saw him. He was in the women's washroom. He was in the women's washroom applying lipstick, and I caught him. He was trying to run away. So, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yeah, this is the man." So I go up to this person in the abaya, and he was wearing full wheel and gloves. I said, "Hello, my name is," and I just gotten my business card. I said, "Is what she's saying is true?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Baba, this is Dubai. You can't be in a women's washroom in a dress as a." He said, "I can go wherever I want to." I said, "This is Dubai. Like you could be in jail." And he's replying in a man's voice. So I'm very intrigued. So I gave him my business card. I said, "Look, I'm from the press. I don't want the press." So the press happens to be here. "We don't even want the press." So he says to me, "I'm a wrong man caught in the wrong place. Give me a number, I'll call you."
So till that point,
No.
you didn't know who he is,
Who would know?
who he was now.
I had the faintest, in my wildest dream, I wouldn't think that was somebody. Because I saw a person in a abaya, like wearing gloves.
The face was covered?
It was covered. And I thought maybe some rich kid or someone trying to play a prank. I thought the police was going to come and take him away. So in all of this commotion, the mall security had come, and this abaya-clad figure was taken into a bookstore. There was a bookstore called Magrudi's, which is shut down now. So he was put in the bookstore, and he put his feet on the table there, and he was relaxed. And I go to this guard and who's this guy? I said, "Don't know who he is." And then while all of this is happening, I think it was about 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and this guy actually called me. So I picked the phone. I said, "What is it?" And then he disconnected. So I called him back immediately. When I called him back, I could see his phone buzzing on the table. And these were expensive phones called Virtu or something.
Yeah, Virtu.
So I said, this is some rich kid or some spoiled brat who was having, and now the police is going to come and give him a. So I'm very intrigued, and I called my cousin also, who had dropped me because I didn't have a car those days. I said, look, and he also comes in. So my wife was saying, "Baba, what are you doing? We came here for shopping, and then we are stuck here." So I called my office and said, "Look, we have a situation here. There's a woman who's been caught in a abaya in a women's washroom, and the narrator said, okay, we leave a small space in the newspaper, like a single column, just see what is happening." And I stay put. Now it's 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the night. And then I asked the security guards, I said, "Who's this guy?" And he said, "Bhaiya, we don't know who this is. He's some Michael Jackson." I said, "What? Michael Jackson?" He said, "Yeah, Michael Jackson." I said, "This is Michael Jackson." He said, "Yeah." So I go up to him and say, "Hello, Michael, how?" Takes out the wheel, says, "Does that make you happy? Now get out from here." This is Michael Jackson in front of me. But before I could say anything, he points to the cop at me, and then they all gather, and I don't want to say what happened to me next. But I was released after around midnight, and I go to the office, and I was asked to file a story. I said, it's not going to be safe for me. In the meantime, the office was calling me because I had given them the biggest scoop.
Yeah.
Because I called the office. Now my phone has been taken away and then when I see the phone, I've got 13, 14 missed calls. But by the time it's too late, so I reached my office around midnight. I filed a story, and then of course the whole hell breaks loose the next day. But Michael Jackson gave a very stupid statement the next day. He said, "I went to the women's washroom because I couldn't see the sign. But then I said to myself, in a abaya, where else could you have gone?
Yeah,
you could have only gone to the women's washroom."
Go to the men's washroom, though. Yeah. So the police knew about this already, or they came to know later on?
They came to know later on, and I was advised not to write a story on it. But we went ahead and wrote the story. And
fine. So you could meet Michael Jackson in this way.
Yeah. I mean, not meet. I had a scuffle with him 2 or 3 times. So he was pinned on the ground, and I had to physically separate him. And
right. So what was the story when you crashed into the house of Shah Rukh Khan?
So I had a bit of a rundown with all the celebrities here. So Shah Rukh Khan has a house on the Palm, and no one knows what the house looks like. I mean, of course, probably they do now.
Yeah.
Back then, there was a bit of controversy whether he got the house as a gift or whether he bought it. So I thought, okay, let's show the world what the house looks like. And back in the day, we could do all those kind of things. Not now, it's difficult. So I had a Toyota Corolla back then, and I took my Corolla and tried to go into this community in the Palm. And of course, if you're driving a Toyota Corolla, they wouldn't let you. So the guards showed me away.
Yeah.
And I realized what I was missing. I was missing a trick there. Next or 2 days, 3 days, I got a fancy car. I think a BMW sports convertible. I got a woman to sit on the passenger seat with a big box and a big hat. And the same guard who had stopped me 2 days earlier, he gave me a big salute because I had a fancy car and the woman sitting in front and let me go inside. So we went inside and we sneaked into the house because the beach is common, right?
Yeah.
Took a lot of pictures there and then we published them. And then I was told Shah Rukh Khan didn't quite like it, but I don't know what happened.
Right.
We had a similar thing with Salman Khan also.
Yeah, you made him angry?
I assume so because there was a time when Salman Khan was not doing that well. This
Yeah.
was around the time, I think after Tera Naam and before Wanted, he had a rough patch.
Okay.
So he was invited to inaugurate a driving school. Salman Khan inaugurating a driving school is like Bill Cosby doing something for child protection.
Right.
So I remember going there and Salman was sitting in front of me and said, Salman bhai, I don't quite understand. Because Salman Khan was facing a case in the court for running over 5 people on the pavement.
Yes.
And he was inaugurating a driving school. And at that year, the driving school was doing something about road safety worldwide, some big campaign. Salman Khan said to me, don't write about it. Please. I said, no, I'm going to ask you. So I went to the stage, I asked him, Salman bhai, you and driving don't quite go hand in hand. And the next day we ran the story on the front page. Actor who ran over 5 inaugurates driving school. And Salman was very livid. So the driving school called me and said, you have to come and apologize. I said, Baba, I'm not going to apologize for it.
And I know that once you got into, you got the movie of Amitabh Bachan's, it got banned here in Dubai. So what did you do? How did you get it banned?
Yeah, so he had a movie called Sarkar. It was a big hit, made on Godfather. The Sarkar movie had a scene in which Amitabh Bachchan is in a jail and some gangster tried to kill him inside the jail.
Yeah.
He survives. So after he survived, the gangsters are talking among themselves and saying, look, you said that the person we hired him is the Olympic gold medalist from Dubai. He is the best shooter and he survived. Now that year, UAE had won its only gold medal in Olympics for shooting. And it was won by a very big sheikh. Now, if you put it in a movie, you are kind of implying that this hitman, Olympic gold medalist,
Yeah.
So we published a story, and of course the movie was taken out of the screen the next day. And I think Ram Gopal Verma had to apologize for that as well. But I think the movie remained banned.
Okay, so before we get into more banned stories, so I want to bring you to our section, which we call it rapid fire section. So
Okay.
you have to reply to me
I hope
quickly.
there aren't any big riddles or anything.
So this is a second chance for you.
Okay, all right.
Let's shake things up with a rapid fire round. You have to answer fast. Tea or coffee?
T.
Favorite journalist?
Anirudh Behel from India.
Okay. Most dangerous investigation?
I think it's yet to come.
Yet to come. Best advice you have ever received?
Nothing is worth chasing a story. It's not worth it.
Not worth it. A city you would love to investigate in?
Visit or investigate?
Investigate in.
I think Lahore.
You want to investigate in Lahore?
Yeah.
Proudest moment in your career?
I think when I helped put behind a sex predator in jail, so I was very proud of it. Yeah.
One word to describe investigative journalism?
Raw?
Raw?
Yeah.
Okay. A book everyone should read?
The Mass Files.
Hey, okay,
Plugging
cool.
it, huh?
The Mass Files. We will talk about the book which he has written. He's the author of this book. What motivates you every day?
I think the emails and the trust that people repose in me. As I said, every day when I wake up, it's either through a WhatsApp message or a Chime or an Instagram message. And there's so many of them. So, and what happens is when people write to you in the hope that you can do something. That's a huge motivation. Not everybody
Right.
gets a chance.
The emails first you receive,
Yeah, emails or messages. Whatever.
not the females.
Yeah. I wish.
You wish. Truth or safety? What's more important in your field?
I think safety.
It's more important than revealing the truth. Okay.
You need to live another day to tell bigger stories. No.
Okay, cool. Very nice. This is honest, and it has to be like that. Of course, if you're alive only, then you can do the
Yeah.
other things. If the life is not there, then nothing is there. Now we talk about writing a book which you have written, and what inspired you to write the Maz files, scoops, scams, and showdowns.
See what happens when I go to India or meet people and I say
Yeah.
I'm a journalist in Dubai, investigative journalist. The first question I'm asked is investigative journalist in Dubai. Is there anything like that in Dubai? So there's a lot of ridicule and will mock at you. Like how is that even possible? This is like so to tell them like look, there is something like that, and there was someone who did something. So the idea was to document my stories, but
Right.
not like compile them, but to document and tell them that there was someone, like 20 years from now, people are going to say that there was someone who kind of raised the bar and did something.
So, what's your favorite part of this book?
So in this book, there's a section called Evil Geniuses.
Okay.
So where I have profiled 13 of the evil geniuses that we uncovered. I mean, there's so many of them, but 13 are my handpicked one. Because of the sheer brilliance that they employed. So although these are like villains, but you're going to almost fall in love with them because of the quirks and the way they pulled out these scams and their mindset. And
Yeah.
so
So, is there going to be a second part of this book?
second part, I'm not sure immediately because I have to have more of those stories, but I'm writing a fictional book.
Fictional.
Yeah, which is almost done. Hopefully should be out by next year. Inshallah.
Inshallah. So, how do you decide which stories make it into the book
For this one,
for this
it
one?
was very difficult.
Very difficult.
Yeah, so the idea was to not overwhelm readers with something which is very heavy, but to give them a mix of bizarre stories, hard news stories, interesting memoirs, some funny incidents. So that was the whole idea to
Right.
to keep a good balance of. So if you read the mass files, it's got everything. It's got stories from back in the day when I was covering riots in India, my encounter with Aghoris, cannibals, 13 evil geniuses that I busted, bit about my interviews with celebrities, Shah Rukh Khan, Salman,
All those stories are
Benazir
there.
Bhutto, yeah.
Yeah, even Benazir Bhutto.
Many of them, yeah.
Right. It sounds a very interesting book. I haven't read it yet because I received this today, but I'm quite keen to read the whole book and to know more about what you have written. So, what advice would you give to someone wanting to become an investigative journalist?
I would say that think twice because, I mean, as a career path, what has happened, unfortunately, and let me be honest, is that newspapers don't have the resources or luxury for a reporter or a journalist to be doing like 3 days for a story. They want you to do something every single day. You don't have the luxury to do that. So, also, it is not as fancy as it sounds. It took a lot of and you have to prepare for disappointments and heartbreaks because we spend like so many days on the story and it doesn't happen. That completely shatters you from within. But still, someone wants to do it, go for it.
So, what are the key qualities one should have to succeed in this field?
I think analytical mind and perseverance. What happens when you are doing a story is that you are overwhelmed with information. Like now, for a journalist to be able to filter through all of that and to convey to readers coherently is the most important thing. Forget about the scoop and the headlines and the big numbers, all of that. To be able to convey a story coherently to readers in a simple and lucid manner, that is the key. At the end of the day, we're all storytellers. You're a storyteller, right? We're also one. But with us, it's just that we are dealing with a lot of information. Some of them is very important and some of them are not important. So you have to have a narrative which everything can flow in seamlessly and then.
Right. And finding the truth. So, this drive should be there as well.
See, truth we don't know. Truth is subjective. So we just state the facts and let the readers decide. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Just
So
the fact
accuracy is the
finding.
most important thing.
Yeah.
Because we know that this many times we know that this is not true, but we have to be accurate in terms of our storytelling. The most important thing is of course the network also that you build over a period of time. Like you have to keep resources in good humor. And I have a network of people across the country and I keep them in. I mean, I don't have a budget to humor them, but I call them occasionally. I help them when they want help. If I have a pass, I can give it to them. for an event, so that when I call them next time, they'll repay the favor. So.
Because of your investigation, did it ever happen that somebody got convicted and later on you realize that, oh, he was innocent because I did just the fact finding and now he's in trouble?
See, we did a story, I think 2018 or 19, I can't remember, in which one man got 517 years in Dubai jail. 517 years in Dubai jail. He's still in Dubai jail for my story.
517
17 years in Dubai jail. His name is Sidney Limos. He pulled out one of the most audacious forex scam probably in the country. And he was sentenced and now he's behind bars. But what also happened is that his accountant was also jailed and convicted for the same offense, which I don't know, who am I to decide? I just presented the facts and there were cases against both of them.
So you don't know whether they were innocent or
No,
not?
of course, there was open and shut case against them.
So no such case in your experience where somebody was convicted, but actually no such case.
No.
So it's 100% accuracy so far,
absolutely.
I would say.
See,
Okay.
I mean, our whole business is on, and we only have a limited area of influence. We can only write a story, right? We don't have the power to execute someone or to get someone arrested.
Right.
That's for authorities to decide.
True.
So we uncover the fact, and then sometimes authorities take action. Sometimes people look at the story and say, okay, we're going to file a case. Many times they don't.
Right.
So our job ends at writing a story.
Right.
Period. Whether something happens afterwards is not in our. People say, oh, you wrote something, nothing happened. Baba, I'm not the policeman or
No, that's not your
I
job.
mean, I cannot do it.
Right. And the punishment for 500 plus years, how does it work? It's like a life sentence?
Life. So he had. So what the court said is that for each of the case filed against him, he got 1 year, and they have to run concurrently. So 517 years.
Right.
And there are many such individuals who have been jailed for various counts.
In the future, do you plan to open an institute or a school where you can teach people about investigative journalism?
I really want to. I mean, if someone can fund it, why not? Because, as I said, I do go to universities and colleges and give lectures and attend conferences and talk about it. But there are these finer points and nuances that can be taught only in a university. How not to rat your sources, how to put together a story, how to write the intro, how to, there's so much to be done. And now, with new age things, you can do a story on YouTube or on a blog. There's so many platforms available now. It's just that you need to be able to convey to your readers. I think I can do a good job as a professor.
Right. So have you ever thought of teaching somewhere in any institution like university or a college? And
I mean, not teaching full time, but yeah, if I do get a chance, I would love to. My first love remains doing what I do best. I can't be like a professor giving lectures on a blackboard.
No.
I'm a man of
Right.
on the streets and do what I do best.
Yeah. But your experience, you want to transfer in the form of a course, maybe?
That's not a bad idea. Yeah, I can do that.
Making a course and then go for it. And if you make a course, of course, you can sell it through my platform, which is Explore Hayat Academy. And
Absolutely.
people would go and then they will buy this course.
No, I
or a
mean,
membership.
absolutely. I mean, there is so much that can be, the potential is huge. And as I said, investigative journalism is something which is difficult, but will never go out of circulation. Because we are the only one who are paid in the business for telling the truth.
So what's your advice to the people about staying safe from scams and frauds?
See, 2025, because this is going to be a tsunami of cyber crimes. Mark my words.
Tsunami of cyber crimes in 2025.
It's just waiting to happen, because what you saw was was a hailstorm or a storm, but now you will see a tsunami. And it is, I don't want to sound pessimistic, but just like COVID, it will affect everyone.
Why is it so?
Because cyber crime, from the way it has increased for the past 2 years, hundreds of percentage, I don't have the actual figures, but it has become $1 trillion industry now. And criminals have become so inventive that they're looking at newer ways to scam you. And a moment's slip is all what it takes. So you have to be extra cautious, not just extra cautious, but double, triple check. but it will happen to everyone. It's just a matter of time. I don't want to sound like a doomsday kind of warning, but that's the truth.
But how to safeguard, like what they should be doing and what are do's and don'ts?
See, it is so difficult now is that there is no, I cannot just give one do's and don'ts. There's so many of these things,
Okay.
So, like suppose, for instance, you come to Dubai, right? As a tourist, you want to book a hotel, right? What are you going to do? You'll go to Google and say, I want to stay. So you see a website, Airbnb. You go and book the website, Airbnb could be a fake Airbnb website. You want to buy a null card. If you write null card recharge on Google, the first 5 things that you get are all fake, even now. They'll take you to a website where you can buy a null card, but it will be fake. You want to go to Global Village or the Museum of the Future, you Google it, right? That's how you do it. But you will not have the wisdom to see whether it is the right URL. Those websites that you see will be fake. So they have become very smart now. See, what was happening back in the day when you said people calling you about this Nigerian scam, or that's what they call it, or you have a prince that you have earned. Cyber criminals have turned this into a proper industry. How they've done it is they are buying data from around the world. They have a dedicated team to harvest those data. So if they want to pitch a scam to you, the pitch will be something different. You want to pitch it to somebody else, it will be different. If you want to pitch to a delivery man, it will be something else. There's a whole team working behind it. And they're very good at what they do.
They're very good at doing that.
No, absolutely.
So you have to be very good at protecting yourself, safeguarding yourself.
Yeah, and despite all these warnings and everything, you still will fall for it. So.
If you could leave one lasting message about the power of investigative journalism, what would it be?
I think it's precious, it's rare, and it is everlasting, and it's very important, especially in today's context. So,
Right, so people should pursue this as a career.
yeah, if you want to pursue investigative journalism, banish the thought. Unless you have that kind of mindset, unless you are like absolutely committed, and then you have that utmost sense of dedication, then do it. Otherwise, it's not your cup of tea. Stay away from it.
Thank you, Maz, for coming to the show
Thank
today.
you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. What an incredible conversation with Mazhar Farooqui, the fearless journalist reshaping the world of investigative journalism. From uncovering scams to taking on global icons and exposing dangerous criminals. Mazhar's journey is nothing short of extraordinary. If this episode inspired you or gave you a new perspective on the power of truth, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Explore Hayat, the #1 personal development podcast in Dubai, and share it with your friends and family. Your support helps us continue bringing incredible stories like this to light. Until next time, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep exploring with Explore Hayat. See you in the next episode.